Welcome, low ego action heroes, to episode 227 Who Owns Research? Today I'll be reading you my article asking that very question, and we'll open up a conversation with anybody who is here live and wants to ask questions, agree, disagree, challenge me, whatever it might be. I'm looking forward to that conversation. So I'm going to get hi Ana Lucia. I'm going to get my screen ready and then we'll share it and we'll jump right in. Let's see. Oh, I've got to press all the buttons today. Let's see. All right, here we go. So this is my Medium article called Who Owns Research? You can also find it on my LinkedIn newsletter. And feel free to post your thoughts and comments and questions as we go. Hopefully we won't be too blippy today with the internet. You might hear an author or trainer say there isn't one single person or role who should own research. They might tell you that research is something everybody should do. A well-known author wrote, quote, "When we let one person own research, we give that person too much power when making decisions about what to build." End quote. Critical thinking time. Who owns product management? Sounds like a funny question. Sounds like it shouldn't even be a question. You'd think the answer is a product manager, PM. A product manager owns product management. This is their domain. This is their role and job. They do product management tasks. We interviewed them, checked their skills, and decided that we could trust them with specialized product management work. Common product management tasks include balancing user needs with business goals, monitoring the market and competition, product vision, priorities and roadmap, and stakeholder management. Some say everybody can and should do research. Looking at the above tasks, couldn't everybody do these tasks? Couldn't non-product management roles do this work and make decisions in these areas? Should product managers own product management, or should this be shared or democratized? Is product management currently owned by one person or one role? It sure seems to be. I have not experienced or heard about product managers gleefully inviting other roles to share their work. I haven't heard any authors or trainers advising product managers that democratizing or encouraging everybody to do PM work leads to better or faster PM work, better customer outcomes, business goals more likely to be met, better balance of power. PMs will have too much power if they solely own product management. Better collaboration. Product managers are more collaborative when the product trio or everybody does product management work. Fewer silos. We don't want PMs doing product management work in a silo. We don't want them just handing off a roadmap. And relieving the slowness or bottleneck of overworked PMs. In nearly every company on the planet, product management is owned by one person or role. Development is owned by one role with many people in that role. Same for QA, marketing, data and analytics, etc. Owned by one role and all of the people working in that role. We could give the not owned by one person or role, or this is better when the trio or everybody does it message around any role at our company. But we don't. We only use that message around UX, often both research and design. We must examine why this double standard exists. Don't imagine, examine. So, who owns research? That depends on the type of research. Marketing often owns marketing or market research. Makes sense, right? This might be qualitative or quantitative research that helps marketers do their jobs well. Who owns CX, UX, user, customer, or design research? I would have to say that your CX or UX researchers own it. Perhaps your service designers, if they do research where you work. It would be logical to say that a user experience researcher owns user research, or something else we call the same tasks. It's logical to say that a researcher owns research. But what if we have zero CX or UX people at our company? I would have the person or team with the most research experience own research. Research should be owned by a person or team who has the skill, experience, and talent in planning, recruiting, conducting, and analyzing unbiased research using different methods. If you have no CX or UX researchers there and no service designers, it's probably marketing who is researching with current customers and target audiences. I would suggest that they own research. Who is your most qualified, talented, and senior researcher? They seem like a good choice to own or lead research. A well-known product management author said, quote, I prefer to see the product trio, a product manager, a designer, and a software engineer, interview customers together. End quote. After reading this quote, it's unlikely that this team or company empowers a researcher to own research. It sounds like product managers, designers, and engineers will do interviews. Perhaps that's the case if you don't have researchers. But if you have researchers, perhaps they're added on the pile as someone who might be allowed to sometimes do research. Perhaps researchers don't interview at all. Who knows? I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth and make assumptions. Maybe it's really only the product trio doing interviews. But given the advice in this quote, researchers clearly don't own research. That well known product management author also said, quote, some companies are hiring enough user researchers to embed a user researcher with each of their product trios. If you are in this situation, fantastic. Be sure to include your researcher throughout discovery. They can help you improve the reliability and the validity of both your customer interviews and your assumption tests. Be careful, however. Sometimes when we embed user researchers on product teams, it can be easy for the team to let the user researcher do all the research on their own. We don't want this. End quote. This quote, aimed at product managers, reveals more information. 1. If a product manager has to be reminded to include a researcher in discovery research work, it sounds like the researcher doesn't own this work, doesn't control it, didn't plan it, is barely a collaborator. 2. The researcher is painted as an assistant or a coach who will help the product manager improve their research work, interviews, and testing. Is this the best utilization of a professional specialist researcher? Are we taking away the work they were hired to do and making their role look different from the job description that lured them in? 3. Sounds like the PM doing the research needs some help with the reliability and validity of their work. That's troubling. Should we encourage people to continue doing research even when we know it's possibly or definitely flawed or invalid? What are our standards and how are they enforced? I have many critical thinking questions about a method that wants researchers doing few or zero research tasks other than coaching, but knows that the non-researchers doing research are likely to have reliability and validity problems. Just making a note here. For a future article I'm already working on. So, again, I have many critical thinking questions about a method that wants researchers doing few or zero research tasks other than coaching, but knows that the non researchers doing research are likely to have reliability and validity problems. Once we see reliability, validity, and other problems, we should take those people off research and bring in professionals who will do it without those problems. Please. And number four, more importantly, according to this advice, research does have one owner, the product manager. Researchers were told that we don't want research to be controlled by just one person or role. Stop being so siloed and controlling. Be a team player. Researchers were gaslit into giving research autonomy up so that it could be controlled by someone else. Or research was taken away from researchers by someone who read a famous book or blog. Research has value. We rely on data constantly in every role at our company. Every good, bad, right, wrong, current, outdated, or manipulated piece of information guides us. Accurate and flawed data or information shape strategies, priorities, decisions, products, services, and more. They shape how we treat each other. They add or remove risk. Specialists have value. We rely on PMs to do PM work. We want engineers to do engineering work. Same for marketers, data scientists, HR, and more. We hire specialists. We put them through multiple job interviews to make sure they really know how to do their job. But UX is unique in that despite going through rigorous interviews and having specialized jobs, most companies assume our work is easy to learn and easy to do, something anybody and everybody can do. We write flowery job descriptions promising UX practitioners that they will delight users, really solve problems, and create great outcomes. But we hire them, remove their power, and give it to product managers. Some product managers don't understand why there is so much divide and negativity between them and UX. Product managers, did you try asking UX why there is this divide? Did you believe them when they shared their truth and experiences? We must seek truth. Did you have a private conversation with a senior researcher or higher, maybe a researcher UX manager, leader, or higher, to get the list of things they don't want PMs to do or control? It might be tough to hear, but you should hear it. It might be tougher to hear if they're afraid to tell you. If the power is so out of balance that UX practitioners fear for their jobs if they're honest with you, then you might hear everything is fine. A good researcher can tell when that's a brush off and not really honest. You might not be able to get the truth from people who are afraid to share it. Do we want empowered teams? Then empower each role. If we claim to want empowered teams, then we must empower each role. Designers are empowered to do the best design work possible. Devs are empowered to do the best coding that they can. QA empowered to do great manual and automated testing. Researchers empowered to use the right methods, participants, and rigor to get answers to our open questions, to replace opinions, guesses, and assumptions with evidence, data, and knowledge. To sum up, who owns research? Researchers. It's in the name. That should be a clue. If you don't want researchers to own research, consider if that is empowering for researchers. Consider if that improves their work, morale, and experience on your team. If you claim that you don't want any one person owning research, then you must follow through on that by ensuring that product managers don't own or lead research. If you think everybody can or should do research, there should still be standards. My guideline typically is if someone wouldn't qualify to get a research job, they shouldn't be doing research. There are still ways for those people to collaborate, but they probably shouldn't do something they're unqualified to do. Our company probably doesn't give many tasks to people unqualified to do those tasks. And finally, if you want research democratized, consider why. Do you need more researchers? Hire them. If you think democratization is great and no role should own their tasks, then what else will you democratize? Because everybody could do nearly everybody's work. Will we all do product management? Will we all get involved in engineering work? Marketing work? Consider what is and isn't a democracy and why. If you wouldn't democratize your own job, please don't force democratization on someone else's. And with that, that's the end of the article. And Ana Lucia left a few comments while I was talking. So Ana Lucia says, so research equals making decisions. From my point of view, research isn't the same of that. Research will give you information and then decisions can be made while using that info, whatever decision that may be. Yes, I always like to say that research informs and influences strategies, priorities, and decisions. Research and researchers might not necessarily make decisions, especially larger decisions like strategies or priorities, but to me, they're part of those decisions because they have a perspective, they have suggestions, they might just be experts in what they're doing, and they've got lots of evidence, data, and knowledge. So thanks for that comment, Ana Lucia. Good to clear that up. Ana Lucia also wrote, oh, I just got the implied meaning of the sentence. Research may go against what they want to build, so it's inconvenient. It's better to not have research to make the decisions they want to make. Yes, that's an interesting point that my article didn't cover. It is quite possible that a well-known product management author, who I won't name, doesn't want researchers to weigh in or have too much power when it comes to product decisions because that person might be against the solution we made up before we understood people, contexts, and systems. Researchers often have some bad news for people when those people have a horse in the race. If they're solution agnostic, then they normally welcome our information and how it's going to help them make a better decision. But if they have a solution in mind, and we come in and say, here's what the research found, and it doesn't match the direction you're going in, there's two opportunities there. Either the opportunity to try to silence that researcher and disempower them, or the opportunity to take that advice and help us do something better with it. So, yeah. So as usual, I think it is sneaky wording, let's call it that, for a well-known product management author to act like no one person should own research, but then they put product managers in charge of pretty much everything, including research. So, hey, follow your own advice. If you really don't want one role or one person to own research, it's definitely not product managers. And I'm going to say one role does own research. Researchers. Not too sure how people, look, when an author comes out and writes a book that gives your job and your role seemingly endless power, control, and things like that, it's easy to get swept away by that. It's easy to fall in love with that and go, yeah, that's the world I want to live in. I want to live in the world where I have all of this power and I can make these decisions and I can decide who does what work. And if there's a researcher there, I can make them my assistant. They're just going to help me out. Look, I understand that amount of power is attractive, but we're not thinking about what else is really going on here, and we can't pretend that one role doesn't control research, and we can't pretend that we've empowered our teammates. Before we get to Ana Lucia's next comment, quick reminder, thank you to all of my Patreon members who are supporting my content in various ways. Some is emotional and moral support, and some is financial. You can join our Patreon for free, or you can join for as little as $1 American per month. And to me, this is the thing to join because you are not going to miss anything. YouTube, algorithm, you might miss something. LinkedIn, algorithm, you might miss something. Join our Patreon and you will be among the first to know. So thanks to the supporters. Okay, back to Ana Lucia, who said, it seems there are a lot of issues around what research does. If they don't realize the data we gather is solution agnostic and decision agnostic, then it makes sense they want to keep us out. I can understand that point of view, but I don't agree with that because we should collaborate as a team and we should try to do our best to look at every perspective before making a decision. Yeah, and going back to your comment before the one on the screen, for generative research, it's definitely solution agnostic and we should be decision agnostic. But for evaluative, we're solution agnostic and our team is hoping to hear that the solution is good. They're less agnostic, but to me, there's no good reason to keep researchers out. I've written enough articles by now that chip away at everything. I've chipped away at democratization. I've chipped away at non-researchers doing researches faster and better and cheaper than letting qualified researchers do research. I've chipped away at this whole, oh, don't let researchers own research because no one role should own it, but yet here's the role that's going to own it. It's just not researchers. I I'm so tired of all of the reasons people use to keep researchers out or disempower them, and I think we just have to call this what it is. It's disempowerment. It's bad for teams, it's bad for outcomes, it's bad for processes, it's bad for customers, and it's bad for the research we were hoping we would do and the insights we would get from it. I welcome anybody to challenge me on that. But nobody has yet, but please do. And when I say challenge me, I mean challenge the points I'm making. Don't just say, "Dear Debbie, you're unprofessional and I hate you and I'm blocking you on LinkedIn." That's not exactly a challenge. That seems to just be an announcement. I'm looking for someone to give me a contrary argument or point of view, and I haven't seen one yet. So get on it, everybody. And if you agree with me, get on it. Let's fix this. I mean, even the whole product trio thing is theater because usually it's a very empowered product manager and a very disempowered UX person and a very disempowered engineer. So there's a lot of theater right now, and I think we need to have more serious conversations about empowerment, collaboration, and where sometimes the specialty just does their own damn work. Alrighty. So we're probably not going the full half hour today, but since we're about 24 minutes in, I'm going to wrap up. It looks like this didn't go live on LinkedIn, so I'll have to look into what happened there. But thanks to those joining live on YouTube. Remember that this will now be an unlisted video. It's going to go to our Patreon paid members for 2 weeks, and then we'll make the video live again and share it out. And please subscribe to YouTube, just in case the algorithm's on our side, CX-CC, which stands for Customer Experience, Customer Centricity. And of course, check out our upcoming events and RSVP so you'll be reminded. It is online on LinkedIn, you say. That's weird. I'm not getting a notification of my own event. All right. Well, I believe you. But we don't seem to have seen any comments from the LinkedIn people, and I can't even get to my own event. So, oops. So I will just wrap up and just say today is Wednesday, and we've got Friday Critical Thinking stream over on the Delta CX YouTube channel. Yeah, I haven't been receiving it either. Another good reason to subscribe here on YouTube. And next week, we got lots of webinars planned, so do not miss it. Monday is going to be UX is a Bottleneck is a Self-Fulfilling Prophecy. Tuesday is live Q&A AMA. And Wednesday is talking about unpaid interview challenges that benefit companies. Ooh, dirty. All right, I'm going to flame us out of here. Thanks for joining. If you're watching this on YouTube, please press like and leave a comment to help us with the algorithm. And I'll see y'all soon. Thanks.